Good day everyone, my name is Marianne G. Elarda and for today's video lesson, we will discuss about Lesson 14, Men and Masculinities. Lesson Objectives. This module discusses the many phases of men and masculinities. It also discusses themes of masculinity and its relationship with well-being, fathering, domestic roles, and drug and alcohol use. This module finally deals with hegemonic, protest, and caring masculinities. At the end of this module, you are expected to 1. Understand fully means studies and the construct of masculinity. 2. Comprehend hegemonic, protest, and caring masculinities. And 3. Know the themes of masculinity and its relationship with well-being, fathering, domestic roles, and drug and alcohol use. Introduction. In 1970s, studies on different aspects of manhood, from men in the labor market to men in the family and violent men, etc., were made. By the 20th century. The number of these studies increased dramatically. In the past studies po, alam naman natin na ang mga lalaki ay tinuturing na isa sa mga pinaka-powerful traits. For example, sa labor jobs or something. If we talk about families, ang isa sa mga pinagkukunan talaga ng pansin ang mga lalaki. Sapagkat ang mga lalaki ay nasa kanila ang mga kakayahan na magtrabaho. Gaya ng sabi ko po kanina, katulad po ng mga labor jobs, di lang po sa mga labor jobs kundi magbabase din tayo sa ibang kakayahan ng mga lalaki. At yan ang mga studies po na nadadala din hanggang sa generasyon natin ngayon. What is masculinity? Masculinity is a set of attributes, behaviors, and rules associated with men and boys. When we say rules associated, mga kakayahan. Masculinity is the quality of manliness, habits, and traits that society considers too appropriate for a man. Some typical traits of masculinity include physical strength, a muscular body, and facial hair. The Latin root of masculinity is masculinus, which means male, which comes from musculus or worthy of a male. In short, yung worth ng mga lalaki, or should we say sa Tagalog po, kung ano ang silbi ng isang lalaki. So, gaya po ng binasa natin kanina na masculinity is a set of attributes, behavior, and rule associated with men and boys. Ang pagkalalaki raw ay isang hanay ng mga katangiang pag-uugali at tungkuling na uugnay sa mga lalaki. Ang masculinity ay nagbabase po sa mga kaugalian hindi lang sa kaugalian, tungkulin, hindi lang sa mga tungkulin, mga gawain na nauugnay sa mga lalaki. Ang pagkalalaki ay isang kalidad ng pagkalalaki, mga gawi at pag-uugali gaya ng sabi ko kanina, mga ginagawa ng isa lalaki na itinuturing ng lipunan na angkop para sa isang lalaki. Ang ilang katangian ng lalaki ay kinabibilangan ng pisikal na lakas, muskularong katawan at buhok sa mukha. One of the examples is the traits traditionally viewed as masculine in Western society include strength, courage, independence, leadership, and assertiveness. Machismo is a form of masculinity that emphasizes power and it's often associated with a disregard for consequences and responsibility. According to Warren Farrell in his book entitled The Myth of Male Power, Why Are Men the Disposable Sex? It says that males are now the gender victims as a result of feminism, having gone too far with men having increased responsibilities but few rights around issues found marriage, divorce, child custody, and access to children. Hindi lang daw po ang mga lalaki ang may kakayahan na gumawa ng ganito, ganyan, kundi pati na din ang mga kababaihan. Masculinity themes: hegemony masculinity, protest masculinity, and caring masculinity. Hegemony masculinity. Hegemonic masculinity is defined as a practice that legitimizes men's dominant position in society, justifies the subordination of the common male population and women and other marginalized ways of being a man. Conceptually, hegemonic masculinity proposes to explain how and why men maintain dominant social rules over women and other gender identities which are perceived feminine in a given society. The clearest are men who are openly gay. Gay men are defined in this system as not real men. Connell's argument is that hegemonic masculinity as a system becomes built into social institutions, so as far to make it appear normal and natural for men subordinate position to be maintained. Protest masculinity is a gendered identified oriented toward a protest of the relations of production and the ideal types of hegemonic masculinity. Disciplines protest masculinity is the product of intensive social control and function to increase solidarity among working class.
Hello everyone, I'm Marchan Fabiala from BS Itoem, and today I'm going to discuss the men and masculinities. So what are the common traits of protest masculinity? According to the band, protest masculinity is characterized largely by physical aggression and destructiveness and suggested to reflect an unconscious defensiveness in response to internal conflict or insecurity about an individual's masculine identity. Next is carrying masculinity. Carrying masculinity can be defined as alternatives to hegemonic dominant forms of masculinity. They are masculinities based on caregiving and nurturing rules for men rather than the dominating aggressive roles normally associated with hegemonic masculinity in Western society. Masculinity social expectation for being a man. The term masculinity refers to the role, behaviors, and attributes that are considered appropriate for boys and men in given society. Masculinity is constructed and defined socially, historically, and politically rather than being biologically driven. So, caring masculinities are simply an invitation for care, both collective care and personal care, to be distributed equitably, and for men to adopt values such as co-responsibilities, comprehensive support, and empathy. Masculinity and well-being. Men are unlikely to talk about their worries and more likely drink and engage in other destructive behaviors when stressed. These findings echo the evidence in the literature that confirming the stoic and rigid notions of masculinity contributes to suicidal behavior and depression. Next one is family formation, fathering, caregiving, and domestic rules. Domestic roles are closely associated with women as carrying them out can involve a loss of face for men. Great deal was heard about increases in women's labor force participation in recent decades, but less about men's labor force, caregiving, and domestic rule. However, it was said that men may contribute to the domestic enterprise in important ways, including through providing financial support, accompanying with children to activities outside of school or home. Masculinities and alcohol drug use. More men drink than women and men drink more than women. Studies show that men were more likely to drink than women, drank alcohol in greater quantity and more frequently than women, and were more likely to face alcohol-related health and social than women. So that's all. That's my discussion for today, and thank you everyone.